Hi everyone, welcome to the PACE webinar. This webinar is focused on our business opportunity for PACE, which is an individual brain training coach license. And PACE stands for Processing and Cognitive Enhancement. And the focus of PACE and really all of our different business opportunities is to change lives for a living through personal one-on-one brain training. So PACE stands again for Processing and Cognitive Enhancement. The program was developed to help kids and adults learn easier, think faster, and perform better. And we worked with all ages. We've also worked with all different learning struggles, reading struggles, memory loss, brain injury, anyone that has difficulty thinking or remembering could be helped by these programs. We currently have about 300 licensees. So PACE is a North American business opportunity. And so we're in the United States and Canada, one Guam down there. We are in Puerto Rico, but that's under LearningRx. So we sort of split it up a little differently. But you can see we're throughout the area. PACE does not have a protected territory. So if you're interested in PACE and there's not a center nearby, then this is an opportunity that you can decide to do if you're interested. Just a few things about PACE. So it's focused on 7 core cognitive skills. All of our training incorporates one-on-one brain training, and in the PACE trainer case, you would be the owner, the director, and the brain trainer. So you'd be a sole business person, the sole employee. And a couple years ago, we celebrated training over 100,000 brains trained worldwide. That's including PACE students that we've had. The programs are based on 35 years of research. So I was the first non-doctor to be a PACE licensee back in 1995. And I love the program. It's a very good program. Our programs are based on over 20 plus research studies. We have a new institute called the Gibson Institute of Cognitive Research. You can go to gibsonresearchinstitute.org. The first randomized control trial that we had a 21-point increase in the treatment group versus the control group. And that's a very, very large, significant gain. Our average gain is around 15 points, which is still very significant. So if you love research, you can go and learn more about it there. I come from a large family. I have 4 kids. And so my day job is to help people that want to train brains for a living, either through LearningRx, which is our franchise, PACE, which is an individual license we have, or BrainRx, which is our international license. And then we also have Christina, and Christina helps me. We work together as a team, and she helps get you information that you need, set up calls and contracts and all of that stuff. So whether you have questions on PACE or family members, you can see we have large families. So we have a lot of experience, not only as the trainer, but also the customer. So today we're going to cover the PACE licensed trainer, training and materials, the PACE license position, and the business of brain training. And then once we're done with that, then I'll go into a little bit of the history and information on personal brain training. We decided to keep that at the end so that, if you have watched other webinars, you can get the stuff that's a little bit different than what we have right now. So PACE, again, stands for Processing and Cognitive Enhancement. So this is a one-on-one personal brain training program focused on these 7 core cognitive skills. You have long-term memory, attention, working memory, processing speed, auditory processing, visual processing, and logic and reasoning. And back when it was created in 1995, it was created right when the National Reading Panel had completed a $200 million study on why people fail to read. And my father, who's the founder of LearningRx P.A.C.E, had been licensing doctors in a program called the Vision Improvement Program, which focused on all of these different areas except auditory processing. But when the study came out, it really had a conclusion that auditory processing was a key component needed for those with English reading struggles. So he changed his program. He removed a lot of the vision therapy from the program, added auditory processing, and started licensing the program to psychologists. But some of the program in P.A.C.E still combines some of the sensory motor integration training that he had in his previous program. So along with those 7 core cognitive skills, it is going to develop some basic vision sensory motor integration skills, including the ones you see there. And then just because I get questions on it, P.A.C.E absolutely trains executive functioning skills. It's just broke up, so we don't have an executive function test where we can say, you know, this is an average improvement that clients have gotten, but it's just broken up. So we do train logic, we train attention, we train processing speed. You could probably add working memory to that mix. So we train all those skills, so it definitely would train that area. So let's talk a little bit about the P.A.C.E license. The P.A.C.E license is $3,900, and that's been the case for over 20 years, by the way. So it's a very affordable business opportunity if you've looked at different business opportunities. We do require a bachelor's degree unless you have a significant amount of experience in the area. We do have a parent license where if you really want to get trained, not to train other people, but really to help your own child, then we do have a P.A.C.E parent license, and we can talk to you about that. So the license and training includes informational brochures that you can give to people, testing, the Gibson test, and then also an administrative site so that you can do pre-testing. You'll put in the raw scores from your test, and it will generate a really pretty 8-page report. Then at the end of training, you would also post-test them, and you'd be able to print off a final report. So it keeps those results so you can print out the final report. And then a year later or 2 years later, if you want to test again, it can show a retention, a 1-year follow-up report as well. So you have all this different testing. It also will store their information. We also train you on consultations, and the way that we do consultations would be through asking questions. And so we'll teach you how to ask the right questions so that we make sure we're a good fit and that we're also going to cover their chief concerns. Then we train you on the training. You also get the materials, of course, for P.A.C.E, and then you also will get a P.A.C.E website. So P.A.C.E by itself is a 72 hours or more program. You can combine it with a digital program called Brain Skills, which you can buy at wholesale prices. And what that allows you to do is, one, sort of diversify the training for the student, but it also gives you a little bit of a 2-to-1, capability. So you could have someone come in and spend 30 minutes doing digital while you're working one-on-one with someone, and then so they're still getting training, but you're able to do it 2-to-1. So, and they'll talk more about that option. P.A.C.E also has a parent training option, and this is great for several reasons. P.A.C.E can be a really positive experience between the parent and child, but not everyone wants to do that, right? And that's okay. We really just want the result more than anything. It also allows parents that may not be able to afford you to do all the training, to do some of the training to help cut costs. So we'll talk more about that. For every student that you have in P.A.C.E, enrolled in P.A.C.E, you're required to have a kit for that student. That's a $300 fee. This program works with anyone from 5 and up. Its focus is on core cognitive training, but also that sensory motor training that I talked about. Now, you have two options. You can come for a 2.5-day training in P.A.C.E, and then you can stay for a half day on Master the Code. So this is a program that we created in early 2000. And after we created it, we had a symposium with all the different professionals. We had about 500 licensees at that point. So we had this huge symposium with all different professionals. We shared the program with them, and then for 3 years, we changed the program every single month based on feedback from our professionals. What has happened with this program is we've gotten incredible results, unmatched results as far as I know of, with people that have problems reading. So they're problem readers, which means they've created a habit already. And if you read different research books on reading, they'll say you can help someone up to the age of about 12 and then, give them more time on tests. Our average age student is 12.9. So you can see, our average is this problem reader, which a lot of research say you can't help, yet we're averaging a 3.6-year gain. This program is, very needed for the group of people that we work with. 60 to 75% of those that come to us need reading help, and so that's why this is so important. It's also a spelling program, and this will add on about 60 hours to the program. So what happens is the person comes to us, 90% of the time they have cognitive issues, which made it difficult for them to read in the first place. And so they'll start with P.A.C.E, they'll go through P.A.C.E training for about 3 months, and then they'll switch over and focus more on Master the Code. So this is about a 3-month program, but it's in combination with P.A.C.E. So if you're gonna combine P.A.C.E and Master the Code, then it's probably gonna be at a 120-hour program. There is a parent training option, so they can help do the training. If they do Master the Code, it's a $200 kit fee, so you would pay $500 in total. This, again, word attack and spelling, and Master the Code uses something called a sound to code approach. And you can learn more about Master the Code at masterthecode.com. So what are the benefits of the P.A.C.E license? One, it's a home-based business. So for anyone, maybe an educated parent who has chosen not to work full-time but still wants to live out a portion of what they do to help others outside their family, this is a good opportunity. Or for the professional that has other curriculums and programs that they already do, but they want the best brain training program added on. So they could do P.A.C.E, and maybe they do SAT prep, and maybe they do neurofeedback. There's a whole list of different things they could do, and P.A.C.E is just one of the programs they offer, so that's an opportunity for you. The average fee charged for P.A.C.E is about $75 to $90 per hour, and as an individual trainer, you can enroll maybe 1 to 2 new students per month. If you do that, when you hit about 6 students, so 6 students times 5 hours a week, that's 30 hours of training possibly that you're doing, especially if the parent's not helping. And so you can see you fill up pretty quickly based on that. But one of the great things about P.A.C.E versus tutoring is that during the day, while those school-age students are at school, you could still do P.A.C.E with adults or seniors. So that's a benefit. P.A.C.E allows you to work directly with your clients. So where, LearningRx, you're a director, you're building your business, and then you have maybe 12 trainers that do the training for you. With P.A.C.E, you're the sole person. Now, we do have the ability for a P.A.C.E trainer to add on additional trainers, and we call that a positions trainer, and those are $2,500 each. So let's say you have a big workload, you're doing really well, but you're not ready quite to leap to the LearningRx Center, then you can get a position trainer license for $2,500. You can have up to 3 of those licenses, And you can train that person yourself. So you call us up, you get the license, you pay the fee, and then we can send you the materials, or they can come to training with you in Colorado Springs. So here's some differences between P.A.C.E and LearningRx. This is a question I get a lot. So P.A.C.E is a license, LearningRx is a franchise. LearningRx has a protected territory, and franchisees get that protected territory because they also have a marketing requirement that they spend every month. They have a revenue requirement, and both of those combined, along with their investment, allows them to protect an area. P.A.C.E, you get licensed in P.A.C.E and Master the Code, where with the franchise you have 8 programs that you could offer. So you have ComprehendRx and a preschool program, all these other programs. When you do P.A.C.E, you're licensed to a zip code. So what that means is, so my zip code in Colorado Springs is 80919. So I get licensed in that zip code. And then if a center, a LearningRx center comes in and now we have a legal requirement with LearningRx, you are grandfathered in as a P.A.C.E licensee, but you cannot move around. So you can't move from 80919 to 80920 unless you're moving farther away from the center, possibly. So in order for us to license new P.A.C.E licensees, you must be at least 15 miles from the edge of the territory. And we can check that for you right away just to make sure that that works. But your license is unprotected, so you're not having any marketing or revenue requirement or royalty requirement to us. But if you are a licensee and then a center moves in, you're grandfathered in. So that's good. With the license, you can be home-based or you could have a center. It's up to you. With the franchise, you have a center and you have multiple trainers, probably 10 to 20 different trainers that work for you. With P.A.C.E, you could have a max of 3 trainers. So it still gives you the opportunity to grow a small business. And we understand that in some communities, P.A.C.E might be the best option for that community versus a full center. And then with P.A.C.E, we do not, and we cannot legally give business support, where with the franchise, it's all about, you have these programs, but here's how to run a successful business model. So we support the program for P.A.C.E, but not the business part of your business. And so that just gives you an idea. Hopefully this clears up a lot of questions on the difference. This is the great news. Let's say you start with P.A.C.E, and then a year down the road, you think, this is incredible. I want to do this for the rest of my life. I want to grow a business and do this full time. Then we will take a large portion of the license fee that you paid. So it's the license fee minus materials, and we will apply it to a franchise fee. So, and you can take those steps up with P.A.C.E. So that's a lot of people come in and they're not quite ready to do the franchise. So they'll start with P.A.C.E. They love the program, they love the results they get, and so then they move on to the franchise. And that, and then we have a lot of people that say, I want to grow a business. I'm going to start with LearningRx right away. And that makes a lot of sense too. So there's a good fit for each one of us. So just a little history on LearningRx, and I did cover some of this, but Dr. Ken Gibson is my dad. And he's always been an entrepreneur. So he started his own business when he was 11, mowing lawns, but a little bit different than most 11-year-olds is he was the boss. He went and got accounts, and then he hired his friends and brothers to be his employees. So he had employees at 11 years old. When he was 17, he started a painting business. And again, he was the boss. So he would find the houses to paint. He painted 26 homes his first summer. And then he would go play golf while his friends and brothers painted the homes. And I don't know many 11-year-olds, 17-year-olds that do that, but he always had this entrepreneurial spirit. And so he did that. But when he was a kid, he also had reading struggles. So super smart, 99th percentile in many, many different skills, except auditory processing. And it made reading very, very difficult for him. So he became an eye doctor, specialized in kids he was one of the first pediatric optometrists, but he also started preschools, private schools, and learning centers because he wanted to help people learn better and read better. And then in the 80s, he created a methodology that was very different than what was being used. So at that point, usually you go into therapy about once a week, and it would be group training. And it was largely in visual vision therapy and some visual processing. And then you would do that for like 18 months. And it was just a very slow improvement. And so hard to watch and hard to retain people. He had gone to 2 sports optometrists that talked about the power of loading or almost interval training. So he went back to his training. He moved it, he took the 18 months of training and condensed it into 10 weeks at that point. So they were going to come to him 3 times a week and do 3 hours a week at home. He went from group training to one-on-one. And then within the training sessions, he went from instructive training to intense training, and he started getting these amazing results. And then he started licensing optometrists all across the country. He trained over 300 licensees, VIP licensees within 10 years. And then reading research came out in the 90s that really pointed to the need for auditory processing training. And that's when he started P.A.C.E, and that's when I joined him in 1995. We moved to Colorado Springs in 2000, and in a couple years, we decided to open a center here to show our 500 licensees at the time how to run a successful business using the programs. We had been successful owners of these centers. And after the first quarter, we were so successful, we actually made 3 times the revenue in 1 quarter that our P.A.C.E licensees would make during the whole year. So we decided we were going to franchise, and so we started franchising in 2003. And then we started our international LearningRx program in 2009. We have about 100 centers outside of North America under LearningRx. My dad wrote 2 books, The Purpose-Directed Business, and I co-authored Unlock the Einstein Inside with him, and we can get you copies of these books. You just need to contact us and say, please send me the digital version of Unlock the Einstein or Purpose-Directed Business, and you can get some insight into how we train people. So these are where our LearningRx centers are, and here's BrainRx, so you get an idea where we are. Okay, so what is brain training anyway? So again, we have these 7 core cognitive skills: attention, working memory, processing speed. Those are these lower cognitive skills, a little bit harder to train and change. And then you have these higher thinking skills: auditory processing, visual processing, logic and reasoning, long-term memory. And those, all 7 of these skills are what we would focus on. If I were to give you an IQ test, I would test 6 of these areas, so minus attention, and then based on a composite score, that's how you come up with an IQ, right? But our focus is to look at each one of these areas individually, find out where someone is weak, and then improve those skills. Now, knowledge bank, that's where tutoring comes in. So, you know, if they have difficulty in math or science or history, then that's where the knowledge bank is. That's how we're different. And you need these cognitive skills no matter what you do. So every day when you have a conversation, you do a webinar, you drive, you try to remember your grocery list, you get dressed, you plan your day, all of those activities, everything you do during the day requires different cognitive skills. And a lot of us have chosen our career based on what skills are strong and what skills are weak. Or maybe we avoided certain things because those were weak skills. And so our goal is to find out what skills are weak and train them so that people can learn easier anyway and anywhere, right? So I don't need to be in a quiet space. I don't need to be a visual learner. I can learn any way you give it to me. So that's our goal. And this is the Gibson test of cognitive skills. And so this is one of the reports that we would do. This is the test we would give to people when they come to us and say, we have a problem, my child is struggling with learning, and I don't know why. And so we test them using this test. It takes about 45 minutes. You can print out a report, and then you have a consultation with them. So all of our training is, done at a small little table. We just have cards and metronome, and very interactive, very engaging with the client or student. We believe that effective brain training needs to have this one-on-one training. It needs to be very feedback-based and very sequenced so that the student stays with you and is excited about doing the different activities. We also implement that loading I was talking about, because the loading, so where you're doing one or two things at once, that interval training idea creates a stronger, more automatic skill. And we target the weak skills. So our focus is to work on the targeted weak skills, not necessarily things you're good at. And it's largely non-academic. This is a procedure you can see. This is more of that sensory motor procedure, but they might be doing a mental activity while they're throwing a hacky sack to a metronome beat. Okay, so here are some arrows. And I'm just gonna, this is a procedure in P.A.C.E. And so we're just gonna do a couple procedures here. I'm gonna find a metronome beat. And we do use the metronome quite a bit in our program as just one of those ways to help develop loading, automaticity of skill, but it's also a great way to improve attention and processing speed. So we'll do 120 beats per minute. Here's my little metronome. All right, so here we go. So we're gonna do these arrows left to right, and then once we're done with the arrows, we'll talk about what skills these strengthen, okay? So we're gonna start on the left here, and we'll just do the color of the arrow, So it'd be something like blue, yellow, red, so every other beat. Here we go. Blue, yellow, red, green, red, yellow, blue, red, green, blue. All with me? Okay, so now what we're gonna do is the direction of the arrow, same top row. Here we go. Right, up, right, down, up, right, left, left, down, down. Okay, so that could be like a level 1, level 2. Now let's up it. This time we're gonna do color, direction, color, direction, color, direction. Here we go. Blue, up, red, down, red, right, blue, left, green, down. How'd you guys do? That's a little bit more difficult, right? And that is, so let's talk about what skills we think we developed here or would develop. Attention, you can feel that if you did those activities. Speed is definitely there. There's visual processing because you're doing orientation. And now there's something called divided attention where you're going to you have to go back and forth in between two pieces of information. So it's a little bit like working memory, but you go back and forth, back and forth. And this is, we do all different things with this procedure. Another thing we could do is, while they're doing this, we would give them 2 numbers. And at the end, let's say the numbers were 7, 2. Then at the end, they would, say blue for the arrow, and then they'd have to give us the sum on beat, 9. So pretty cool. Okay, so let's try this next procedure. This is a short-term memory procedure, working memory procedure. So we have this is like a tic-tac-toe grid. So if I were gonna say this, I would say 2 blank blank, blank 4 blank, blank 3 blank blank. So you go 2 blank blank, blank 4 blank, blank 3 blank. So let's count to 3 and then say these every other beat. So it'd be 1, 2, 3, 2, blank, 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 4, blank, blank, 3, blank. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna count to 3, and now we're gonna do it without seeing it. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 2, blank, 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 4, blank, blank, 3, blank. How'd you guys do? Let's try it again. We're gonna count to 3 while we see it, and then I'm gonna turn it off. Ready? Count. 1, 2, 3, blank, 5, blank, 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 2, blank, blank, 7. How'd you guys do? Okay, so this time what we'll do is we're gonna add 2 to every number. So if I were gonna do this one, it would be blank, 7, blank, 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 4, blank, blank, 9. So we're gonna do that with this next group. Ready? Count. 1, 2, 3, 9, 6, blank, 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 5. How'd you guys do? Okay, by the way, as a trainer, it's a lot easier than if you're a student. And if you think, you know, oh my own skills are a little rusty, one of the best ways, the most awesome ways to develop your skills is you become a P.A.C.E licensee, and then you train, you know, start with maybe a 10-year-old, 9-year-old. And while you're training them, you will develop new skills. So the sharpest period in my life is when I had 5 P.A.C.E students. And then it just changed my skills as a mid-20 person. Okay, one more, here we go. So we're gonna add 2 to every number. Ready, go. Oh, I guess we're done. Okay, but you get the idea. Now, if you love brain training and you wanna learn more, you can go to learningrx.com/webinars, and you will find webinars on testing, on effective key ingredients of brain training, on reading, pillars of brain health. There are a lot of different webinars that you can listen into to get a little bit more of this information. So this is a look at some of our client outcomes. And the reason I bring this up is a lot of times people ask me, how would this help someone with dyslexia or ADHD or autism or brain injury? So we're going to focus on looking at some of the majority of our clients. And the number 1 client has attention issues. The number 2 client has reading issues. And so even if they're not diagnosed with dyslexia, you know, they still may have reading issues. So, but this is the group with dyslexia. This is over 2,000 clients. And what I want to point out is that those people that have come to us, these, you know, thousands of people that have been diagnosed with dyslexia, when they come to us, you think, oh, they have an auditory processing disorder because that is what, you know, reading research has connected to dyslexia. But you can see that they, in our findings, the pre-test, which is the light purple, that they're coming to us with a cluster of weak cognitive skills. And that is why our program is so needed for this group of people. If you go to someone to get reading help because you've struggled with reading and all they offer you is phonemic awareness training and a reading program, and you don't get the memory training or the speed training, that's why I think most reading programs fail, is they don't have, they're not focused on the key areas that they need training in. And P.A.C.E does that. Here's ADHD, and again, you see attention, so we would expect attention to be the weakest skill, but it's not. It actually was the 4th weakest skill. Working memory, processing speed, and long-term memory were lower than their attention score. And this is on thousands of clients diagnosed with ADHD. So that's why P.A.C.E is such a powerful program. Here's autism. And so I had a question today on, will this help my child with autism? And I don't have a randomized controlled study for me to say, yes, it will absolutely help your autistic kid, but I can share how we've worked, how it's helped people on the spectrum in the past. And so these are our results. You see the pre and post test results. So what happens when someone goes from the 20th, 30th percentile to almost the average percentile? What happens for them? It's life-changing. And and we have all this research. Here's brain injury. This is a new group that we started working with here in Colorado Springs, which is surrounded by military. So we started with military soldiers that had come back from the war and had brain injury. I think our average age brain injury client is around 25 or 26. And we were just trying to help someone, one of the soldiers, read better. We didn't realize that you could actually improve a broken brain. And we have a lot of research in this area now. So you can go to Gibson Institute of Cognitive Research, and then under research areas, you can find our peer-reviewed research. We have been published in science journals over 13 times in the last 3 years. And all of that research, all the links to the journals are at this website. When you're looking for the right business opportunity or part-time business, one of the questions you want to ask is, are people happy? Does this program really work? So at the end of training with LearningRx, we will ask our clients on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely are you to refer your friends and family to LearningRx? And we've averaged a 9.6 out of 10. This is over 5 years and over 22,000 completed surveys. So that's pretty impressive. So your first step is to call us, 719-359-5550, sales@learningrx.com if you need to email us, and you can set up a time to talk. If you're ready to register, we can send you an application, and no better place to do training than here in Colorado Springs. Hopefully that helped answer questions, but we love to talk to people, so if I wasn't able to answer your question today, then let's have a call. You can schedule a call with me. We can take 20 to 30 minutes. I'll answer your questions. I have experience. I know our research, and I've run a P.A.C.E business before, so I can help you with any of those questions. So thank you for listening, and hopefully I'll talk to you soon. Thank you.